Right. I started talking a lot more while my mic was muted. Great. Great start to the stream. Um, well, it wasn't actually muted, but usually I don't have NVIDIA Broadcast open unless I stream. Most recently because of the Star Citizen conflicting. I don't know how it conflicts, but Star Citizen and NVIDIA Broadcast don't work well together. Like at some point, I think it's the refinery part where it's a little bit of a problem where when I go into the refinery while I'm using the NVIDIA Broadcast, um, the program just starts consuming a massive amount of CPU and GPU and whatnot. Anyway, today we have on the program two things. Well, three things actually. We have the Star Citizen Live game dev, and we have a This Week in Star Citizen newsletter kind of thing. And after that, we'll go into Voxel. So that's why we have in the schedule, of course, Voxel. But yeah, I wanted to go over this, so yeah. Let's start it up.
We're about to go live, you dunce.
Oh, it's quite long.
Go live.
I think like last week, because last week we also kind of skipped over a lot of them. Look at this shirt.
Like privileged internal Teams chats. Like, oh, I gotta show you something when we're like 9 seconds away from going live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Star Citizen Live.
Wow, it took him a little bit.
Part 2. I'm your host. Well, not really. Not this week. This is your host.
Hi, I'm Elliot Maltby.
What do you do, Elliot Maltby?
I'm a lead designer who makes missions.
Good job. And this is part 2. We've never done a part 2 SCL. Last week, we did one of our game dev episodes where we sit with a developer and we watch them work for an hour. And normally, people just, they do what they can within the course of an hour, and then, we get to the end of the hour. And it's like, okay, that's it. This is what you can make in an hour. And it's good. It's a showcase of process, but it's not like a good result usually, because again, it's only an hour. Elliot fell way behind our estimations, and what every other developer that's ever done this, and barely got halfway through the first half of his work, because he took over the show hosting, which was fine because I didn't want to do
Yeah. I kind of noticed it last week. Like Elliot was talking a lot more than Jared, which, of course, if he has the natural tendency to talk about what he's doing, then why not, right? This was the last week's episode.
I'm not complaining. Wow, how are we doing?
But it was very technical last week. I remember at some point they started kind of setting up all the preconditions and ins and outs of a mission. They had a program for that where they could start a mission and try to spawn things in, but it was only on the logic side, so we didn't really see anything in game. It was basically making blocks with parameters, and that's as far as I could understand that one.
Dave?
Pretty good.
Show good?
Really good.
So this week, we're going to continue. We're gonna pick up where we left off. I want to stress that Elliot has done no work on this between this Friday and last Friday. He's done no work at all in the last week, really. We're going to talk about that in a different meeting. But he's definitely not touched any aspect of this since yesterday. Everything is exactly where we left off. So if the mission works, he was doing a good job last week. And if the mission doesn't work,
Horrible.
There won't be
Yeah.
a part 3.
Fired.
Because I'm going to Gamescom next week. So, Elliot. Say yes.
Hello. Yes.
We
He's a
got
little bit
music
nervous.
underneath to drown out the pregnant pauses, right? Yeah. That was Pete. Yeah. We're going to turn it over to Elliot, and he's going to pick up where we left off. Elliot,
Hello.
where did we leave off?
So, the last thing we did
We're on the wrong camera.
on the wrong camera. David! Thank you. Hello. So.
Starting off great.
Last week, we finished off. We'd made the module that tells the ship to spawn and populates it full of people, and then we're making the actual main module where you are going to be sent to get Void Dude, knock them out, and then deliver them. We'd set up a bunch of that main logic, but just hadn't finished it in time. So we're going to continue on from there. And then hopefully we'll be able to get this done, make the mission record, which is one of the next steps, which is how you guys would see the mission. And then from there, I would play the game, test it, make sure it works.
So first the logic, then set up the record, and then testing it.
Iterate, and so on and so forth. So, I'll jump into my
Sounds
logic.
simple enough,
Alright.
but I mean, it
Cool.
took him
So
more than
this
an
was the
hour
very
last
last thing
week,
I did,
and
which was the on
could definitely
object
not repeat it, so-
entered, which, if anyone remembers, this is where when the player has scanned and found the ship, they have now entered the ship. So then what I put on their HUD is like locate and subdue Void Dude, and then we make sure that they can see that objective and then see that sort of HUD, and then we start proximity tracker. The proximity tracker was the imperfect solution where we don't have FPS scanning in the PU, so, and I don't want to just mark them straight away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until you're about 10 meters from them to then mark them. And
so it was like a subdue and retrieve mission where they had to go to a location. However, the main thing about this is annoying me. The main problem that he was kind of the dilemma I was struggling with is: do I introduce this right now because there's no proper scanning, like long distance scanning in the verse? Do I introduce this right now and make up a way to kind of simulate long distance scanning, or don't do it now and we have nothing to show for Star Citizen Live? So of course they had a way to kind of make sure that there's like a simulation of them scanning, making sure that there's no direct point that they can travel towards, which honestly is great. I wish they would do that with a lot more systems where they have like a placeholder mechanic to fill up.
And we might do something in the future where we I have a detection where if they see you, if Void Dude sees you, then it also adds the marker just to kind of help that along, so you don't accidentally shoot the person you meant to subdue.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So one thing next that I needed to do was in the other one, I think I sent some modular AI spawn. Cool. Just checking everything, remembering where I am. I haven't touched this in like a week, so I'm also trying to remember where I was.
Oh, hold on. Go back to my. We apparently didn't record the intro for the YouTube version. So,
Okay.
Hi, I'm me. That's him. And we
You
started in the
kinda
middle of the
did
thing.
They kind of did the intro. Besides, if
Okay,
you're watching
cool.
this, you should have watched
So,
part
we
1
have
anyway.
the object entered. Now I just need to set up the stuff for the proximity tracker. So when the proximity tracker tells me that it's done, which is on entered range. So when the the proximity tracker is triggered, I'm going to check to see if the person who triggered it is a mission player. Voila. And I want to check that the tracked object, which is how I put the variables in on objects entered, the tracked object is the players and the reference is the target.
Can you zoom in on that at all? No, like what's mouse wheel do on the center screen? Does it zoom in? Doesn't zoom in.
Nope. No, this is it can zoom out. Is that better? Can everyone read that? No.
That's as far in as we can zoom.
This tool was built before we had 4K monitors, therefore it doesn't support 4K. So you either have to get really close to the screen or have just really good eyes. One of the two.
We'll put that on the feature request list.
It's already on there. Set objective marker. So next up,
I can see the Reddit thread. Sergi didn't have 4K monitors to when? The mission people who work in text didn't have 4K monitors.
yeah, we don't need 4K monitors. This is not beautiful. You don't get to see this grid. This is what I have to look at. It doesn't have to be beautiful for
All
me.
flow graphs are beautiful.
True.
Well, that's not true. Actually, I've seen some really nasty flow graphs.
You want to see because I'm
Oh,
pretty sure
God.
we're close. Look at
They
look
are
at
kind
this.
of-
Look at this. So all
Getting
of
distracted.
these here, this is all of Siege of Horizon. And if I was to open this up, you see how I can't click this? It's because it's loading it. There's so much stuff in here. It has all of these functions, everything. And this is only a bit that handles a small part of it. And inside of them, all of the graphs are absolutely huge. I've got, which is my horrible one?
So this, we've been building this. Obviously, we're only a couple minutes into this week's show, but if you watched last week's show, this is one Siege of War. This is one aspect of Siege of Horizon here in the lab.
Okay.
So this is one module. This is all the information that I listen to on Siege of Horizon, and all these modules have about the same amount of information in them, just so I can ensure that like every aspect's covered, that every single thing in Siege of Horizon. So when everyone plays Siege of Horizon, it's like, oh yeah, you know, it's somewhat pretty simple. God no, the thing took me 7 months. It's not simple.
Oh.
There's even a graph that just like when you're on it, it lags when you move around because of the amount of nodes that are on it. And it's mainly because we've never had anything with that amount of nodes before, so it exposed a performance issue in the tool. Anyway, away from Siege, away from my lifelong work.
Do you know how much simpler mission that we're building today?
Yeah, exactly, an easier one. The players entered the range of
Interesting,
Void,
though.
so now I need to mark Void Dude to be killed.
Like,
So I am going to put it.
like I would never have guessed that there was so much going on in Siege of Horizon. Apparently. Now I keep saying Horizon or Horizon. Yeah, really interesting though to know that there's so much tracking going on, because there's not a lot of you except like one mission, right? And maybe Call to Arms.
In the string, which is
And usually the mission didn't even work very well. As in, I don't want to shit. I don't want to shoot this last work into the ground, but usually there was like problems where the correct NPCs were not spawning in. Of course, it can mean performance issues, not necessarily issues with the mission. But I rarely completed. I don't think I even completed the Siege of Horizon once. Horizon. Siege of Horizon.
subdue and deliver something to, and then target. Cool. And then I'm gonna align that to this thing here, which is the objective, and I'm gonna set true. So basically what this is happening, when the player gets close enough to Void, I'm going to mark Void.
Show the target.
There was one thing I noticed when I was clicking about in my functions, which was this. This.
Okay.
So I set something up, just to let you know how we think. I set this up last episode, target tag provided. This is if, so this is where we start thinking about how the designers work. So if the designer has given me a target, I need to always take that. However, if they've not given me a target, I'd pick randomly. So for example, what I do in the pre-init, so this is before it has all started, I'm gonna drop down a global function that already exists that we built a while back, which is spawn description has identifier tags. I'm gonna set it to be any. Set Boolean.
Gabriel Wolf says, is there a graph for how many times you've complained about the graph editor? It's just a circle. It's just a never-ending circle.
Work on mission, complain about mission, release mission, design mission, work on mission. So far, that's everything.
Fair enough.
Cool. Right, so set Boolean. So what I'm going to do is I am going to check if the NPCs populate, which is the record that the designer is going to provide me that contains the NPCs, has an identifier tag of target. There you go. And I'm going to go through.
I mean, that was target tag, right?
Perfect. So then if it does, if the target tag has been provided to me by the designer who used this, because it isn't just going to be me who uses this stuff because it's all modular. If they provided me this, then I can filter my logic differently. So now, for example, I'm not going to do.
Okay, I started to understand. So he's essentially setting up, making sure that whenever this mission type gets used, like the subdue and recover, it's not only like one person who can use this. Like, I assume we later go into the tool where to actually make sure the mission shows up on screen, where there are a couple of ways to trigger a mission like this. For example, you know, it's a random criteria in R-Corp where they just want to have like a guy, but it could also be like a very specific guy, you know, with bounty hunting. Maybe in the end we don't want bounty hunters to, you know, log out when they hear any sign of danger, but we can subdue and retrieve them. I keep calling it different, but it's the same mission, I promise.
Do it here, but like when I'm building this stuff for wider use by other people, what I then do is I then go and build a random system that will randomly pick out a target, because if they've not specified it to me, then they'll want me to just choose random because they don't care. Like, these are sort of like the cases where you'll have in the future where we want to build a bespoke boss encounter. So like where we spawn Mendo or Remy in Siege, they'd be bespoke. So that's where we'd want to care about where they are, or who they are, or what their entity is, and that's what this sort of stuff allows for. Cool. Next up. So we've got, so next up what I do is I assess, because again, what I have to do is I build this and then I've got to test it. So I've got to make sure that I think everything's here that we do. So I'll run through and I'll assess everything I've done. So I set the module location so it only streams in when stuff I care about exists. I start the occupied ship spawner. I get the location object container. I create my objectives. I mark the location. I create my HUD. I filter for that. When the location's loaded in, I filter my action area so I don't get crashed by a mint leaf.
Sylar00 says, hi, question, why do we need to know all this? Thank you. You don't. Watching the show is optional.
Yep.
Continue.
So I've registered my action area. When the player ends...
Some feedback I'd give to Jared would be to respond more to the positive comments. It's a lot easier to respond to the negative comments because you disagree with them on so-and-so, on all of these areas, but it kind of shows that it rewards them with the attention that they wanted initially.
Enters my action area.
Sometimes.
I check if my entity track is empty. I make sure, and if so, because if the target's not provided, then I don't need to. If the target's provided, the marker's already on the target, so I won't have taken the marker away. If the target isn't there, I will check to see if it's a mission player. Remove the marker that's telling them to go to the location and make sure that the correct text is on the screen. Perfect. However, going through this, it looks like either I didn't make it or it didn't save the on-exit callback of the location action area. So that would be a quick one to make.
Just taking it.
All right, it's gonna
Amazing.
make
So I'm
an
gonna see-
on-exit
uh,
callback.
Probably wasn't made in 4K because most programmers have terrible eyesight from staring at
It's
photos.
quite possible.
I'm gonna ask.
Let's skip a little bit ahead.
There's a bunch of fail-based ones. So if you sent to prison, if you become a criminal, or if you leave prison, we can.
Ooh.
Same thing.
I have a note on that which I'll speak to you all about when I'm playing.
Wait,
the
is
game.
this? This is a new tool.
This is over to a new tool.
Look at this.
The next tool is DataForge. DataForge is where we build our mission records and fill out a lot of information there. So I will add a record, boom, and it's going to be a mission broker entry, and I'm just going to call it subdue, and deliver.
Subdue and deliver.
You know what? That's fine. Cool. So this is where a lot of the missions are built. This is a huge data graph that takes in a lot of inputs and changes how the mission plays. There's a lot of power.
It's the same. It's part 2. So last time we had a whole lot of graphs and flowcharts and whatever, where they set up the logic of the mission, but they couldn't finish that within that video apparently. And this week we have the finishing, and I think he kind of just finished. Maybe he needs to go over, because of course they still have some testing to do. Go over the logic, and now they are in a program called, I forgot the name of the program, but they're making a record so it's visible to the player, that they can select it at certain times. I assume they're also selecting the parameters, like when the mission should be selectable,
Power up here. For example, I have the power to.
but we'll see. And hopefully, let's speak a little bit ahead. I think there's gameplay. So that's most important. Oh, that's
Take a mission
wrong button.
that is only allowed for one person, and only one of them is allowed to be around at once. And without changing the logic, I can make it so that everybody in the server gets offered it and pulled into the same logic. And that's what we do for things like in the wake of this disaster. The logic is built just to care if the ships have been scrapped, and that's it. But with the DataForge settings, we're able to make it kind of an open mission. that
DataForge.
kind of can encourage PvP.
That's the
and other
program.
things. Cool. So I'm gonna set a owner. So the owner would be me. We have these owner things just so, because we have a lot of missions, we have a lot of teams now that also help build missions. So we have to make sure that when our amazing QA department put bugs in, for them they see like just the narrative name. So it will say like, in the wake of the disaster is an easy one, but we have bounty ones that have like 7 different names. Why are you laughing? I don't get it.
Because the way you phrase it, it sounds like the QA people were the ones who created the bugs.
They did create the bugs. They give me the bugs, which I'm happy about. I need bugs to know.
So you're
my
saying there
stuff's
are
shit.
no bugs. Bugs don't exist until QA creates them.
Well, no.
They
I
don't
bug
exist
my
until
stuff.
they're
It's like
discovered.
Schrodinger's
Yeah, exactly.
code.
Yeah.
It's neither buggy nor works until QA opens the box.
Exactly. Exactly. So they'll put in a bug, and it will be about like this bounty mission. But the bounty mission has a random name generator type thing. So the name of the bounty mission could be called anything, and it's difficult for us to understand which record it alludes to on our end. So we have this ownership thing where they can open up the bounty thing and go, the mission, and go, oh, this one's for someone in Montreal, and then we can assign it to them quicker, and which means the bug gets resolved quicker. Whereas if they signed it to us, that's going to be like a 24-hour period until Montreal come online. Not 24 hours, but you know, like 8 hours until they come online, can hit it. Anyway, moving on. Next up, select file. This is referencing the mission module. So I'm gonna place this one in. Yep. So this is referencing the logic that we have just created. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be cheeky because I've made a mistake because I've got what I called this mission. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna rename this to actually be Sudo and Recover, and so it's aligned. Cool. So this will call the logic. This means when this record starts, it starts this module.
Oh,
and the
so it
module
was
starts processing.
subdue and
Next
recover.
up, I'm going to take the title of the mission, and I'm going to drop that. I'd drop that in there. I'll probably need to export in a minute. In here is where I drop the description, and then I drop the from line. The type, these are all the mission types we currently have. This is what you see in your Mobigraph as to where the mission sort of.
Ooh. Look at what we have here. Very nice. Mining missions. Okay, okay. I see you. Escort missions even. Mm-hmm. I guess this is the appointment with Eckhart, so we kind of already have that. But we don't have mining missions. I don't think we have escort missions unless they count the no, that's an ECN. And what is job? Is that the Eckhart? No, well, maybe. Rescue, that's more like a beacon, maybe? But aren't there also like beacons around here? Survival. Yeah, service beacon. So this the difference between service beacon and rescue. This is
exists. I'm going to set this on mercenary.
Chat's like typo or bug? The same thing.
I have a note on that which I'll speak to you all about when I'm playing the game. Okay, right. I can go through all these settings, but there's tons of them, and I just tell you
Okay.
all to read my documentation, but you can't. So I'm going to avoid explaining every single one of them, and you guys can all just come up with your own idea of what they do.
Oh, why start now?
I know, right?
We do want to get in and see how the mission actually works.
Exactly, and if I explain through every single one of these, there's a hell of a lot of settings, but I'll try high level them. Reward, this is where we give you a reward that doesn't matter what value we put in because you're all not happy with it no matter what it is. The location mission available is where the mission.
That's so right though.
The location. Right. We give you.
But let's see. There's a bonus. I only see this implemented with the drug mission and the 890 jump mission so far. Maybe, I mean, I've not done all the missions, but pretty sure like those are one of the few missions where it's counting for currency type UEC, which is interesting. Also, look at what they have in game. They have multiple currencies. I really like to press on this. You know, what kind of other currencies they have.
You a reward that doesn't matter what value we put in because you're all not happy with it no matter what it is. The location mission available is where the mission would generate. The location mission available is where the location would generate. So this is where we can say this mission only stays around Stanton 2.
All right.
Available date scheduled. This is for stuff like when we do the Christmas missions, Halloween missions, whatever, like seasonal. Notifies when it pops up on your screen. There's the buy-in, which is obviously you buying in. These ones are the most powerful. The max instances, max players per instance, and max instances per player. This is where we can play around with how many of the missions can be active at once, how many you can accept, and how many one person can join into. Can be shared, which is obviously so you can just share it with your friends, once only, which is the mission can only be done one. We do these for a lot of story missions, so the Arlington Gang missions. Some of these are once onlys because it doesn't make sense for you to play them over and over again. There's a bunch of fail-based ones, so if you're sent to prison, if you become a criminal, or if you leave prison, we can fail missions. These are, again, just more settings that we can play with, so we have respawn time, so that's how long the mission takes to come back. We have lifetime, that's how long it's up for without being accepted. Abandon cooldown, so if you abandon it, how long till you can get it back. Personal cooldown, that's if you complete it, how long until we want to give you.
All right, cool,
This is
cool,
if the
cool.
mission's lawful or unlawful. Mission giver record, this is how we link. Invitation mission, this is how we do appointment missions. So we'd put an appointment in here. So we'd say this is Ruto, and we give an appointment mission. Or talk to
Oh, I see, I see.
An invitation, and then there's no mission. Reputation prerequisites, which needs renaming at some point. This is just what wanted level you are.
Wanted level.
And then a jurisdictional
Oh.
override, for example, like Grimhex, they have a little bit of a difference in how they do law. Reputation requirements. This is how much reputation. How much? Oh my God, no, it's not how much reputation. You're putting me off.
What's going on here?
is the reputation required to get this contract, because this entry is essentially a contract. It's how much reputation you need to get, or what you need to be equal to. So we might have
Is this-
fireable, we might have I've got, oh my God, it's past. Required, yeah, all right, I'm just gonna move on. The rest of the settings can wait. I can explain them.
Good. Thank you. I was about to skip ahead.
So here comes some of the magic. So this is where I'm going to find the location. So I'm going to put this word in here, mission location _ BP, which links to this. Where is it? Mission location BP. There you go. That links to this, and basically it lets me set information from this side into the mission, so I can control things like what the location does up here. So for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set in here, I'm also going to need to type in location here. Extended text token, this is how we dynamically populate those star words things that I was typing in and talking about, they're tokens. In here I'm going to do a tag search for a location. Now we can pick location specifically, but to allow for some cases of randomness, we might not want to. So what I'm going to do in here is get a mercenary mission location. I'm going to restrict it to Stanton 1, missions, location system, Stanton 1. So I'm going to restrict it to Stanton 1, so this is where you'll see it. And also because mercenary mission locations are applied to both ground-based locations, it's how you have in-atmosphere bounties. I'm also going to make sure that you can only do it in space. I'm then going to set up a resource tag. So a resource tag, this allows us to say how many missions are allowed at a location at once, because we don't want more than one person doing a kill-all mission, you know, where you got to kill 10 AI at a singular location, because if I turn up and I've got 10 AI to kill and you've got 10 AI to kill, I'm either going to just wipe out your 20, or I'm going to kill 10 and then leave 10, and that just is weird. Yeah, that's that. Next up, we need to set up Voidy's name. So in here, this is where I would add the target name token, which is what we have. I'm going to set it to male, and then I would, for example, I'd put
Human
in
male as well.
name here, and then that'd bind to Voidy's name, and then you can see in game it'd show. And then target name token, which is what we have.
Let's see. What else do they have? They have a lot of human male, Ninetales, whatever. Ooh, and then they have Satu Karn and Elwyn Bertram.
I'm going to set it to male, and then I would, for example, I'd put in Voidy's name here, and then that'd bind to Voidy's name, and then you can see in game it'd show their name. Now this normally we'd leave random, so it.
Again, I know too little about Squadron 42 to know who those people are, what they're doing, but I'm assuming they're like one of the main characters, or well, not the main, one of the main, the main characters that you'll get to interact with. So I'm assuming you're the main character, and apart from that, they would be the characters that you get to interact with.
It has that element of randomness.
Or perhaps
that
we already
randomness,
see that.
But for missions like the Arlington mission, that is where we wouldn't leave that. Next up, we have the occupied ships BP. So this is the gonna fill in this. So this is gonna be the ship that we want to spawn. Again, I'm gonna do a tag search. Tags. Nope. Ship spawn description. That's what I want. So this is a special spawn description thing that will allow us to see. It will allow us to see sort of the ship and build this like cookbook recipe. I know I've talked about the cookbook recipe oven thing.
Yeah, ship stuff.
The mission overlay setup reclaimer tag as well. A lot of tags on a lot of things. Cool. So this will essentially find that ship that's tagged up as reclaimer. So in here, all the way up in our ship thing, we have a ship entity record. It will live in wherever the entity folder is, which is all the way up here. So in here, we'll have a record that represents the reclaimer with a bunch of like level design markup, and it'll have tags on it. So essentially, we can find that via tags and reference it in our mission. It's just a very quick way of finding stuff. Because we have a certain level with amount because we've played it and we've gone, okay, this little bit of the reclaimer, the cockpit is fun with 2 people in, and this cargo area of the reclaimer is fun with like 5 people.
Holy crap,
in.
we're going
So
into this for a very long time.
And
Tools that our Subsumption team and our Dataforge team and our RoboHesi team and everything have created, and the fact that we're going to get it, and dear Lord, I hope it runs. You need to keep working. No,
I'm ready to move on to the next part.
If it works, this is incredibly fast. It's actually very fast.
An hour and 40 minutes to make a mission is insane.
If it works.
If it works.
If it
doesn't
works.
work,
Fired.
I'm going to Germany and not coming back. All right.
Cool. Okay, so last but
Holy
not least,
crap,
so
I'm not even
I've
sure
added
what
this
I'm
to
looking
PE
at.
Missions. This contains every single mission, and I've dropped in subdue and recover. So the next thing is I would boot my server.
Go into it.
So yeah, go to switch to us for this one. There you go. You boot it. I just don't want to do
okay.
the screen share.
Cool.
We'll tell you when to go back to the screen share. So we're going to boot our server.
Yeah.
Now, in this instance,
Maybe there's
booting
something
an
we
internal server
are
takes a
not
while. We talked a little bit about that
allowed to see
last
that.
week. We have had a server running in the background during this, and we're just going to send this information over and hope it stays up and running. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, so
I'm
that
ready.
one needs to go away.
Sure.
Yes.
And this one?
Yep.
Cool.
No, that's the game. That's what we want
That
to say.
one, yeah.
That screen needs to go away.
I need to add the C bars.
Yep.
I see,
pull
I
that
see.
one off.
You want to move
He's
the
kind of
server away as well.
gatekeeping
Cool.
the people,
Cool,
so
cool. Move that
we don't get
around.
access to stuff we're
Why
not
does that
supposed to
pop
see.
up there?
That is a beautiful picture of Connor Allenby.
Okay. And now you got to make this bigger.
Oh, okay. I normally play in windowed, and the reason I play in windows is
You're playing window, just make the window bigger.
yeah. It's just when I'm building, I actively change things as I'm building, so it's quick for me to tab out and in.
Yep.
Where is it? 12. That one.
Okay.
Is that big enough? Do you want it bigger?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, go to go to the last one. Okay. You can switch.
Oh, he wakes up!
So,
Nice.
full transparency, I have put God mode and bottomless mags on, and the reason I've done that is because when we're doing this, we're like in the prototype phase, so me playing it naturally isn't important. It's making sure that it works. making
Yeah, the
sure
logic
everything
works.
spawns, and then
Yeah,
if
yeah.
it does, I then go back and go, right, okay, I'm gonna start like doing it properly to see the experience.
We're also not going to have any sound on this because I didn't think about it until just this very moment.
Thank you, Jared.
There we go. So next thing I'm doing is I am forcing myself a loadout. So I've got guns because I don't want to spend my time going to the shop. So we have the MFT loadout that I've crafted. So I'll apply that. It will give me in a second. I'll get a body. You know what? I'm just going to have to full screen this, which is quite risky because that could have crashed. Cool. So now I have a body.
Oh my god, the screen tear is not great.
I have a body. So I have my inventory. I have all of my stuff that I might need. So I've got tractor beams. This is like a very big testing like loadout. It has a lot of stuff that I might need. And next up, I'm going to force the mission, which is subdue and recover. So this allows me to force mission because even though you guys have to wait naturally for it to generate or for you to unlock it via reputation, I just need to test it. So I'm going to force it. So I've done that, and now we have to wait for it to spawn, load. Missions are actually entities, so they have to spawn like everything else in our game. So they'll be in a spawn queue.
Why is that?
You're
Oh,
asking
good
the wrong
question.
person. I don't know. It's the coder, who's a hell of a lot smarter than me, goes, these need to be...
You have to narrow that down.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
David, my David, he made this into an NC. It'll probably have a reason. I just don't know it, but it's not anything that I can really just like argue with because what do I know? I just make missions and half of them don't even work. Right, I need to check there's not an asset.
It's a little bit of self burn.
Hello.
I'm excited to see the mission.
Pops up, but it can recover from it, so it doesn't crash.
Yeah, you can't leave it. You can't do a full screen. You have to leave it windowed.
Okay.
You just have to leave it a big window.
Well, that's fine because the game just crashed on me.
That's what I'm, yeah. If you're wondering why we haven't shown the screen for a while, it crashed.
The server crashed.
Crashed.
Cool.
This is where I want to. Let's have. You added that.
Legit,
You
someone
added
put it
that.
in here. Someone asked how much I bench. Okay, so I've accepted the mission, which is here, but it looks like some of the strings have broken, so we won't see some of the strings. Usually, this is because when you're making strings live, you have to make sure you export them to the game. If you don't export them to the game, it uses the pack file strings. And it's something you have to remember every time you shut down the client and reopen it. You have to constantly export to the game. So we're gonna have no strings, but that's fine because I can tell you what is on the screen. So what I've just done is I've gone into F3 mode, which is no clip, because again the important part of my flow is being at the mission and playing the mission. So flying there isn't a part of it, not until I need to start testing naturally. But again, I'm just testing to see if it works. So I'm going to F3.
Go to third person.
Going to F. Yep. This is.
This is
I don't
beautiful.
have EVA. It doesn't take you into EVA. It's literally just like you're flying as you are. Cool. So I'm going to get a bit closer, faster than any ship can do it. Here's the planet, loading in. I'm getting a bit closer to the mission location,
Okay, we're flying in. We're
Cool.
finally there.
which is here.
It's an asteroid
Nice.
field.
Get around about here. So I've entered the area, so it knows where I am, and I need to. So it knows where I am. So at this point, this is where it's like locate, v spawn. So I have to locate the ship via scanning. Now again, because I skipped the whole ASOP stuff, I'm just going to v spawn the Cutlass,
Oh,
which is a quick way of being able to just spawn a ship. Again, quick testing. It's about like getting in
Getting
and
logic
testing,
in,
your
yeah.
testing your content. I'm going to God mode. There you go. At this point, the player would be going around and looking for the ship and scanning. But right now, this light is blinding me. I can't really see much of my screen. So in this case, what I might do is I might turn on unlit mode for myself, and I can see stuff. Makes it look horrible, yes, but again, I'm here to test stuff works. So I'm going to look around and try find the ship.
We can't do full screen, Zoro. That's what caused the problem before.
so they're looking for a redeemer.
Oh, there we go. So
Oh,
there's
they
the ship,
found it.
And there's the marker on the ship. My God, it's working, Jared. Touch wood. So there's the ship. So next up, I
Targeted.
would infiltrate the ship. But again, I I'm playing purely for functionality to make sure it works, so I'm gonna fly there. There we go.
Is they live
Here's
ship
the
or
reclaimer.
is it like
The All
inactive?
Good Ships Reclaimer. Void is Reclaimer. And next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in the airlock. So at this point, because I've, as a developer, at this point, because I've cheated a lot of the way here, I need to chill for a bit. And why I say chill and what I mean by chill is I've beaten streaming on a lot of cases. So I have to make sure that the spawn queue slowly works its way down and all of my stuff spawns. So what I do usually is I'd sit here for a hot minute just while I wait for everything to spawn.
Turn the light back to normal.
Oh yeah, I'll turn the lighting back to normal
that
now.
Ian doesn't come after me.
So here we go, atmospheric, torch on. So now what my plan would be is that I made the mission so you have to find Voidy. So at this point I would be searching around to see if I can...
This is not the normal setup of a reclaimer if you just find it. Like all these boxes, it's horrible screen to pause at. But this looks a lot like what you find, but heavily deteriorated at Ghost Hollow.
Spot Voidy. Oh, someone. There you go, occupied ships, and now there's AI on it. And we've put markups, this is stuff Nick Urko's been working on. Put markup, oh, we have an asset. This is the thing I was on about. This is something is broken, but it's telling me that it can continue without it crashing. So what our QA would do is they would ensure that they bug all of, like they'd report all these assets, and then each team would get these assets. Oh, clicked out. To make sure, oh, there we go, there's another one. There are CVARs to turn these off, but we usually leave them on so we can see stuff. Like, for example, there might be an asset that I've caused. I keep clicking off the screen. There you go. There might be an asset that I've caused, and this is my only way to figure it out.
Oh my.
You've got one on. Why are you? Whoa.
I forget. Cool. So, yeah, at this point, I'm looking around, trying to find Voidy. Where you at? Sneaking around. So I'm going to call the elevator and I'm going to head down into some of the other areas. So what do we got? Processing hold. I'll go to the cargo hold. Maybe.
I mean, these are
sneaking
like.
around there, counting his
So you don't actually know where he's at. 'Cause
No, I've got no clue.
There's a randomizer element that we put in there.
Yeah, pretty much. You can either specify where they are or you can randomize it. I can't remember where I put Voidy. But cargo hold, you know, he might be in here hoarding his maze, smelling it, having a nice time with it. Voidy.
Oh, look
Voidy.
at how this looks.
Are you here? Ah, hello. How did you survive that? Oh, they've dropped their weapons. So,
So many people
so
around.
these things are where we'd find issues like this and we'd report and like get these fixed up before, what are you holding? Before we put it out. I'm just gonna murder hobo everybody. Yep, nice. Right, now you need to go back out. Voidy isn't in here.
So how do you know who's
And this
Voidy?
is places where we'd find like server performance, and we'd look at that and how it affects the mission, because there might be like, we have the proximity tracker in, but there could be the server currently, I'm running it locally, so it's kind of like not going to be accurate, but the server performance could be pretty low to the point where the proximity tracker can't update quick enough.
Oh,
I
then
can
you
actually
see
see how
him,
it's
but then you shoot him before
so
it
I'm in another
actually
area.
tells you that you see him.
Oh,
Gotcha,
okay.
gotcha.
Start
Oh.
knocking people out. You wanna? There you go.
Boom.
Again, I've got God mode on, so I don't really need to care about the damage, but players would. Get out of here. You as well. Anyone else? Oh, there you go. There's the marker. I've come close enough to Void, dude, that I know where he is. And I would be able to go up this little bit here, but that because that's the bit that leads up, but I can't climb up there, so I'm gonna go all the way back and try and knock Voidy out. I'm coming.
But if you have a sniper, then
Is that the next floor?
yeah. If you have like a sniper, then
Oh my, world's slowest elevator. Come on. Voidy.
this might be an issue, right?
My
Because
friends have come out to play. Anyone else?
or is it like if he's
No scouts.
actually if you actually see him?
Cool. Here we go. Voidy, me and you.
Okay.
Done. So, next up, as you can see, I now have a drop-off marker. I have Voidy. This should say Void Dude. He's not in his normal armor. Oh, hello. Another asset, of course.
Effects.
So then next up, I grab Void, and then
Oh, what happened to your infinite mags?
it keeps thinking I've got the. Oh my god! No one saw that. No worries. It thinks I've got a different gun in my hand. That's why. There you go. And then I'm missing all my shots. Die. Where are you? Where have you gone? Sorted. Right, now back to my multi-tool. Cool. And now we... There we go. We grab Void and we... Void Dude!
This is looking...
Cool. I think... I think there's a bug in where if they're unconscious, you can't tractor beam them. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so the mission would obviously
Is that a
fail
bug or
if
a
you murder
feature?
Void Dude, because you are here to subdue and deliver. But due to that bug and the fact that I haven't built the whole if you kill them, the mission fails, because again, just testing for the feeling, I've left him killable. So now Void, Void can actually move with me. Right, next up. So this is
I
the...
like how quick you were to blame a bug. When it was clearly a skill issue.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's all we do all day.
You jumped
could-
straight
You
to... oh,
could
it's a
have
bug.
dragged them out,
Not
you
for
know?
a moment considering that you were just bad.
I moved him twice and he shot back to his original location.
Because you were bumping him into stuff.
Bumping him into stuff. He was rubber banding clearly. It's Void's issue. It's your issue, Voidy. Cool. Next up, I'm out the ship and I need to get a ship to then take me back, and I can't be bothered to go get my other ship, so I'll spawn a fresh one.
So lazy.
And then I'll go in. Oh my god, third pair, thank you. How close am I? It's alright. So, next up, I need to put Voidy in the ship.
Oh, there were some enemy markers in there.
Yep. So I'm going to open up the back.
Glad to see they're testing it with the Cutlass.
Here he is. Void Dude. Come on. I'm trying to be careful because if I go too fast, he'll detach from my tractor beam. And I'm using no clip mode, so it's a bit quicker.
So this is what bounty hunting V2 looks like? Absolutely not, Voodoo.
No, definitely not.
Shot him through and the door open. That's pretty good.
There you go, right? Move Voidy along.
Put them in the bed.
Why are you still carrying him around?
What, Void?
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, he's in the ship already.
you usually make sure he's comfortable, don't you?
And he,
I might have killed him, but I'm not rude. Now, if it lets me into the seat, there you go. Now, I have to tackle the star map and set a destination.
I appreciate the way you've worded that. I have to tackle the star map. This is where I want to remind everybody. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm saying it now. Every single thought you've ever had about Star Citizen, every single comment you've ever made in Twitch or YouTube or just in the privacy of your own home, we've had them all, we've said them all, and we were doing it long before. We're just like you, and you're just like us. In good ways and not.
Yeah.
Like Elliot's skill issue and
Huh?
blaming bugs for skill issues.
Listen, it was clear.
That's the new icons, though.
Okay, right. Now I just need my QT.
Or maybe
to
it wasn't the
happen.
icon.
There we go. And now I just need to try.
Maybe it's just like a half-full planet.
We can assume that, you know, we're already at time. We don't need to keep everybody.
Yeah, I mean the delivery module is something that has been working for quite some time. So
Right.
this part would be pretty explanatory. You take Voidy, you drop him off in the location. Bob's your uncle.
Actually, Carl was my uncle.
Oh, sorry, Carl. But there you go. Mission worked. First time. Yeah. Now who can't make missions?
Not counting
Huh?
the crash.
Sharp, huh?
Hi,
I
everybody.
see.
So yeah, that's it. We're gonna assume.
Great. My video is also running a little bit late, so let's leave it here.